Kenyan chef, it's Rico, and we all have one thing in common during this quarantine, and that is time. So why not use that time to learn something? So I'm using that time to learn how to make samosas, and we're gonna do that with the easiest recipes. So let me show you what we are going to use. We have a lot of spring onion. This is some leeks we wash in between the leaves. Some finely grated ginger and a lot of minced meat with cubes, beef cubes. This is the mix that we're going to use for the dough. You can find the recipe on my website below, the measurements. Okay, so first things first, let's mix up the dough so that we have it resting when we're cooking our meat. So making the samosa dough is usually the hardest thing, but I'm going to use a method I've seen around, and that seems easier than the traditional method of cooking the doughs on a pan. So we're going to cook this dough in the oven. So you need to preheat your oven at 200 degrees. So we're making the dough first so that we can let it rest. The longer it rests, the better for it. The better you're going to be able to handle it. So now that it's a little bit incorporated, we can let it have a little rest for a while. Then we're going to come back to it and continue kneading it. So make sure you cover it. Cover your dough. This is obviously not going to rise because it doesn't have any rising agent. And quarantine it on a safe, warm corner. So in the meantime, as we're chopping up our onions, we need them like really small. Okay, once you're done frying leeks, onion, ginger, we are going to start with the ginger and the leeks. Sweat it down, add the meat with the beef cubes, and then we're going to finally finish off with the onions. The onions come last. So at this point you can see there are no huge lumps. It would help if you have a bigger pan if you're doing a bigger batch. So let's add the rest. What you're trying to do is dry off all this water that you're seeing here while cooking the meat. And destroying any big lumps that you will come across. So at this point you can still add your beef cubes. So that it does incorporate with the water coming out of the meat. And it's going to thicken it and make your meat taste richer. Okay, so it's nice and dry. You can start seeing this is fat, it's no water. So at this point, you can add your onions. And we're just going to let this get translucent. We're not gonna let it cook. Don't let the onions cook. Just gonna let it cook for a little bit, but not too brown. And right now we're just going to let the onions get translucent and just cook a little bit, but not too brown. And then that's gonna be it for the filling. And that is it for the filling. Back to this flour. Make sure your surface is clean. And you can see after it's rested, it's very well developed. The gluten is very developed. So that's what you want. Now you're going to divide these into equal amount of balls. Like you would do for a recipe of chapati. So dust the surface. Use your scale if you want equal amounts. I'm going to measure 150 grams. I'm going to measure equal amounts of 150 grams. I have another dough resting over there, but we are going to continue up with these little ones we have over here with the method that I saw, which was really easy. It's the first reason I got to. I'm very curious to try it. So let's see if I'm going to be able to do it. So you're just going to roll these out like you do a normal chapati, but a little bit thicker. going to stack this on top of each other. That's why we have the oil. So be generous with it. You douse it all over the top. So be generous with the oil because we're gonna put this on top of it. And you can see how thick this is. It's quite thick, so you don't need it to be thin. And I'll show you why. I don't think I'm going to add this one. I'm going to add it in the other one that is resting. So after you got all your dough stacked on top of each other like that, we are going to smash it up all together. I'm going to try and make a triangle, a rectangle. Or is it a square? This is why you are leaving it thick. So once you have it like that, all nice and stretched out, go ahead and give it a dust. Put it back on your roller and find your baking sheet. Oh, here it is. So we're going to bake this in the oven. I'm going to use the baking sheet. And once you see the first layer peel up, that means that it's ready. So I'm gonna have to cut mine because it's too big. So once you see the first layer peel up, that's when you're going to remove it from the oven and try and carefully peel off all the layers. All right, so it's really just a few minutes, and this is what I've ended up with. Ouch, mine are fat. Probably should have made it a little bit thinner. Wow, that is hot. I'm going to try and peel off the layers, but carefully. This is hot. But these layers are coming out perfectly. So I'm going to let them cool down for a bit before I handle them. Okay, and that's how you simply make the dough. The dough for there you go. The layers and sheets that you need to make your samosa. You can see my hand through the, so they're quite thin. They're nice. So that's how you simply make them in a simpler and easier method. So this has worked out perfectly done. More perfectly than I expected it to. So now all you need to do is align everything and just cut what you need. Okay, so last stage, making the samosa itself. So this is what you do at this point. You have a sheet ready. Take one out of this corner and you put it on that corner like a 90-degree angle. Then take your finger and then you pinch here, and then you twist this on this other side on another 90-degree angle, and then you can feed your content in there. You can feed the content in there. Now make sure you have your glue ready, which is just water and flour. So paste it on the side on where you're going to glue it. We suggest you paste it on this side as well. Since mine has a lot of residue, I'm going to paste it all the way to the top. Like that, you seal it. And there you go. Your very own samosa. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that for the rest of it, and I'll show you later. Okay, so 100 samosas later, and I think that's enough practice for you to go back in the world after this quarantine with a new delicious skill. So subscribe. I'm going to show you more recipes. So try out this recipe on the website below. I'll see you in the next one.